What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Beneath the Beat podcast. So before we get into the episode, we just wanted to take a second and say thank you so much for ending your year with us here at Beneath the Beat. It means so much that you took time out of your day to listen to this episode. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here is part 2 of our interview with Hannah Laine. That's super deep. Like religion, I feel like that's something where that happens all the time. You see so many people, like, I mean, in this country, we have societally a really negative view of Islam. And that's something where it's like, dude, there's a couple people who are following a really bad dude, and now you're basing this entire religion off of it. But I mean, I know my dad is Muslim, and so I know a ton of Muslim people. I've never met a Muslim person that's like a bad person, like just being straight up, you know. And so like religion, that's just such a profound way to think about that, the uniqueness of spirituality and the uniqueness of religion.
Yeah, you grew up in the church. I can relate. I went to a private school for a long time. I grew up in like a Lutheran church. What kind of made you expand out spiritually?
I'm gonna try to give you the shortened version.
You can give us a long version. We got all day.
Well, Rockford is full of Christianity, and so that was always around me, and that's what I knew to be home and true for myself, because my family was Christian too. But I was going to a church with my family and just felt like not super connected with it. And my best friend in middle school was going to this Baptist church, and it was so much more fun because they went on these like sailing trips, and they did so many fun things. And so I started going there, and they one of the days they were talking about how homosexuality was a sin. And I'm like in 7th or 8th grade, you know, like very mushy brain, like capable of being formed in whatever way somebody wants to reach in there and form it. Yeah. And I was talking to my mom about it. She was driving me home, and she stopped the car. She goes, "Don't you ever say that homosexuality is wrong." And I was like, whoa.
Your mom said that to you?
My mom said that, yeah. She's a social worker and just a great person as well. Very open and loving. But she had a friend who is gay and went through years of therapy and is a Christian and tried to not be gay. And then finally, like one day, just accepted who he was. And then found like peace and freedom in that, which is great and what everyone should do. But I'm just like, that moment will be with me forever, because that was a moment that my mind started to shift about what I was being taught. And I started to question things more. So I read like this book, Love Wins, was a pretty controversial book in the Christian community, written by Rob Bell. And he talks about how many things that are in the Bible could just be alliterations, metaphors, and like hell was a literal place on earth where people would dump their trash in biblical times. And so Jesus compared like hell, the hell inside of you, to being like this place where things are burning and it's terrible and there's suffering. So that opened my mind to this idea that heaven and hell are just like inside of you. They're your experiences. You can experience heaven on earth with your peace of mind, or you can experience hell with a chaotic mind. So that was another pivotal thing that opened my mind. But then in college, I ended up getting involved in this evangelical church. And I didn't really realize it was evangelical at the time, even though it was called Campus Crusades for Christ. But, you know, there's still some naivety in me.
Sure.
At that
Yeah. Your
time.
brain, when you're getting to college, your brain is still mush. Your brain is still like forming, developing. Yeah.
Even though you think that, like, because you're in
Exactly.
college and you're an adult now.
I
like,
got it figured out.
I got it. Yeah. But I just like, that was a very intense experience at that church. I ended up I went on a trip with that church, a spring break trip to Panama City Beach. My friend talked me into it. She was like, "It's great. We just go and we worship, and then we talk to people on the beach." And I was like, "Cool. I like the beach. I like talking to people. Sweet."
Yeah, sweet. That
And they
sounds
gave
good
us
with
these
me.
like little booklets that we had to like give out to people on the beach while they were drinking and partying and sinning.
Oh, I was just gonna say, was there beer there? That would sound sweet.
Yeah, and you know, I was like, hey, why don't we just have a drink with these people and talk about life?
Yeah.
And nobody was into that.
Wow.
I know.
That's like the first thing that I think of is like, just have like, join them and talk to them about life and their experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. Which sounds way more fun to me than shoving something down somebody's throat.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was just like a very intense experience. I think I just kind of experienced like the extreme of what Christianity can be. And at the time, like as I'm processing all this stuff, I'm getting like negative feelings about the fact that I've tried to convert people on the beach. I hated that feeling of like, ugh, trying to like shove what I think is true in somebody else's face when I honestly didn't even think a lot of this stuff was true. Like, of course, part of me like was still attached to Christianity as truth, but other parts of me were experiencing truth in other ways and questioning that truth that I was being told. So I was talking about that a lot with my friends, and I had a friend who was just getting into yoga, and she recommended Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. No. She recommended A New Earth. So I read that, and that like, I don't know, that just connected so much more to myself and like what felt like truth to me than Christianity ever did. So I started reading more books on, you know, like Taoist thinking, and I read like Ram Dass books and Alan Watts and Eckhart Tolle. Started meditating and doing yoga and smoking more weed, and
there you go.
Yeah. And yeah, just kind of opened everything up for me. That's really what it feels like not being held in this little box of belief. You know, like now I can believe whatever I want to believe.
Right. Yeah. Well, and just like in talking to you and your overall persona and your personality, you are 100% comfortable with who you are, and it is so apparent through like you went through these experiences and then you were able to find exactly where you are, which is such a beautiful thing. But at the same time, it makes me think about all the people that haven't done that yet. You know,
And the Christian part of me wants to save them.
Yeah. Wants to start sharing, hey, these are the actual experiences that I've had.
Yeah.
But like you would have a beer with them and talk to them as opposed to the
Yes. No, I'm not. No,
beer is a sin.
I kid. I'm not trying to convert anyone anymore. And I actually realized that this summer that like some of that tendency to want to bring people into my experience and like help them to see my truth, which might be their truth, that tendency to feel like I know what's right and I know what's best for people is still there in some ways. And I've started to notice that. I'm like, wow, that's my Christian upbringing. That's like me feeling like I have the truth and I need to spread it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But really, like everyone just has to find their own truth.
See, that is the truth. Everyone's truth. For real though, everyone's truth is so different. Like my grandparents on my mom's side are very devout. When I was growing up, they were Methodist. Now I think they are more Catholic. But they're very, very devout, church every Sunday, all this kind of stuff. And then my dad is very, very devout. He was the imam in my hometown when I was growing up. And, he's the kind of dude who's never had a sip of alcohol, never eaten pork, any of that kind of stuff. And the thing is that is both of their truths. And who am I to say that is wrong?
Right.
And one thing that I really valued about coming up in that environment was where I was in both of those. I grew up going to the church and going to the mosque, and that having that I guess range of I guess truths being thrown at me, it allowed me from a young age to say, listen, I don't necessarily believe any of those, but you guys are both saying treat people well, treat people with respect, don't be an asshole, treat your body well, things like that. And I was like, okay. So that started to shift into my truth. And I actually, when I was in college, I also got really into like yoga and meditation. And I think that brings up a really interesting point of mindfulness. And I just wanted to talk to you about what role mindfulness plays in your creative process.
Yeah. I really think that mindfulness is everything with music. Because you can be playing your instrument and like not thinking about it. But then what's in that besides sound? There's not necessarily spirit. So especially with writing, I feel like a lot of my writing comes from, sometimes I'll just play around with chords and sounds, and then, I'll be like, okay, that sounds cool. Yeah. But I think like the main point of songwriting is to find that openness where I'm not thinking about anything else, and then things can just come to me, and then I notice them, and then you play off of that.
Yeah.
But if I'm thinking about something else, like I have no space in my brain to allow new ideas to come through.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, there's this great quote. I think I have it on my wall. An Alan Watts quote. Creativity, pure sensation. Stop talking in order to have something to talk about.
Ooh.
If your brain's like going all the time, it's thinking about, oh, what am I going to eat for dinner? Which mine is honestly a lot of the time thinking about what I'm going to eat next.
Right. Yeah.
But then I have like, there's no room for me to experience the notes that I'm playing, or no room to allow some new idea to come through, because it's taken up space by talking.
Yeah.
You have to stop thinking in order to have something to think about.
That's so true. Wow.
That's just
what
so
do you do, like, because I know for me there's so many different avenues. Like when you're a musician, when you're a working musician, you think about X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, blah 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 blah. How are you able to just shut that all off and be in the present moment? Because that is something, seriously, that is something I struggle with.
Yeah. And it's something I struggle with too. It's yeah, some days it's really hard.
Right.
Some days my brain is so full of stuff that I can't write any music. Yeah. But I think to get to that space, meditation is a really good practice that I try to do. Or even like one of my goals this year was to use practicing like music practice as meditation. So to be like fully immersed in every sound and every movement that I make. So even like not just like playing, but like feeling my body and like hearing the notes. And I think that can be really relaxing if you let it.
Oh, absolutely.
Another thing I like to do is I meditate on the chakras a lot. Do you know what the chakras are?
I do not.
Chakras are energy centers in your body. I think it's a tradition of Ayurveda, I want to say, or some Eastern practice. So there's 7 major centers in your body. You've got your root chakra, which is the center where you feel it's at the base of your spine, and there's emotions that are connected to it, like your sense of security, feeling connected to things around you, feeling present in the moment, feeling here, like being right where you are and feeling that sense of safety and security. Then there's your sacral chakra, which is more of your genital area. And that is the center of creativity and being able to go with the flow of things, not resist what's coming at you, but just flow with it. And, you know, come up with, you know, create and birth. It's your birthing center. Birthing ideas, not just humans, but ideas. And sounds and all that stuff. And then your solar plexus is your like beneath your rib cage, and that is your sense of strength in who you are, knowing who you are and showing that to the world. Having confidence and like really embodying who you are. And then your heart chakra has to do with, of course, love, loving yourself, allowing others to love you, and opening your heart to others. It's that two-way energetic exchange of allowing love in and radiating love. And then your throat chakra is your center of communication, speaking your truth, speaking up for what you need and what you want. And yeah, manifesting through words. And then your third eye chakra is the center of visions and intuition. So having that like that vision, that psychic ability to see like where you're going, what you need, knowing exactly what you need in the moment, and where you're going. And then your crown chakra has to do with connection to the universe, everything else. So what I like to do to really center myself and to ground myself, kind of get out of my my overthinking. And I like to do this before shows to really feel present with my own being and really embodied in everything, is to go through the chakras and do vocal toning for each one. So with each chakra, there are Sanskrit words that resonate with them, or even vowels. So I go through and I like focus on my root chakra and I chant Lam. And I focus on that chakra and focus on that sense of stability and security, and then just go through the whole system. So that helps me to enter that meditative state.
Wow. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
That's something like, as far as like getting in that meditative state, that's something that is, I feel like, very hard for so many people and so many creatives, and I say creatives intentionally, not just musicians, but like writers, visual artists, anything like that, where there's so many times where you put all these hours into your craft, and you get to a point where people are giving you recognition, but something just doesn't necessarily feel right. And I feel like there has to be some kind of block somewhere, but finding out how to get into that meditative space is really hard. So thank you for sharing that process with us.
That is beautiful. Where did you learn that again?
I have a chakra meditation book. Actually, the thing that got me into meditation in general was this app. I had an Android, and it was this chakra meditation app. And there were these 10-minute meditations that this beautiful woman's voice guides you through, like feel your sense of security and feel the color red start to flow through your body. So those really helped me to get into meditation and to connect to my body in that energetic way. So I was really fascinated by the chakras ever since discovering that app. And then my partner Chris has this chakra meditation book that I studied a little bit out of, and there's like lots of little meditations and like exercises you can do to connect to each one. And then I also met this woman through a friend. Her name is Kimberly Harrison, and she calls herself a vocal empowerment coach, which I think is super cool. And what she does like coaching in more of a therapeutic way. So using your voice as like a therapy to yourself, instead of like trying to be like Aretha Franklin. You're just using your voice to connect with yourself. And so I met her and took a few lessons from her, and she taught me that chakra chanting and toning.
I'm inspired to do, because I know I've kind of dabbled in meditation, but I at the same time I didn't know where to look or where to start. So thank you. I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful for our listeners to hear too.
And I would recommend trying different things too, because maybe like sitting and meditating might not be the way that you connect with that space, but like you could even do like movement meditation and just like kind of float and dance around and just like feel your body. Or you could do singing meditation or playing meditation. So there's so many different things, breathing, breath work. That one's great too.
How has like expanding out meditation, yoga, how is all like studying, because you study Native American culture, how is all of that influenced your music?
I feel like there is such a deep connection with all of anything that I have learned about my spirit or spirituality in general. That's helped me connect to myself and who I am, has come out in my music in some way. And I think like the meditation, I mean, it helps me through life, but it also helps me to be more aware as a musician about the notes that I'm playing, how my posture is affecting my playing, how my breathing is affecting my singing. It's just given me like a deeper connection to all of that, and a deeper awareness too of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to go practice that literally right now.
Yeah.
just being in the moment, like even, you know, you could view, cause I practice a lot. I practice marimba, I practice guitar, I practice a lot of drums. And the way you just explained it, there's a way I feel like I could still be mindfulness while playing my drums. You know, drums, people associate drums with loud, people associate drums with obnoxious, but it's like being mindful of what you're playing and how, like at all times, it doesn't matter the instrument that you're doing, it doesn't matter what you're doing in general. Just being more aware of yourself, I think, is so important.
Totally. Yeah.
That was very, very inspirational.
Yeah.
I love it.
There, my intro to mindfulness was, it was actually, at least the first I can like really remember thinking about mindfulness was, it was because of a guy named Dominic Beringa. And he's the saxophone player in Paddlebots. Him and I went to college together, and he told me about this book, The Miracle of Mindfulness. And he lent me the book to read it. And I remember in the first chapter, they were talking about doing the dishes to do the dishes. And that analogy, like he's like, no, the reason why nobody likes doing the dishes is because you're always thinking about the cup of tea that you're going to have when the dishes are clean, instead of looking at doing the dishes as a job that needs to be done. You are the one that is there to do it. It's like, it's like it totally changed my perspective. And that's something that I feel like going through life, you know, not just music, but like going through your day-to-day job, you know, like I sit at a computer all day for my job. So it's like doing that, there's different things that you can be mindful of that will, at least in my opinion, will bring you joy, you know, having that awareness of, I don't know, sometimes you just need to breathe and have the awareness of your body and have awareness of what you are doing. I actually just got this big exercise ball that I've been having like a lot of lower back pain. So like every day, a couple times a day, I'll like just lay over the ball and try and stretch out my lower back a little bit and just come to grips with where I'm at, who I am, what I'm doing. I try to do that every morning now when I wake up before I do like anything else.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I can feel that, like I could feel that feeling of sprawling out over the ball, and it's really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great. It was a good purchase. It's only like $10, so $10 nice. Well spent.
$10, or like the foam stuff that you can just kind of roll your back on. It's like, oh,
I love those.
Feel your spine just open up. So good.
Yeah, I've been also really into Epsom salt baths.
Oh, really?
Epsom salt. Yes. Sorry, I'm excited because well, what happened was I injured my hand last year.
Yeah, that was fun.
I injured my thumb. Yeah. So I could only play shows with my right hand. So Zach had to fill in with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I stopped playing trumpet with Paddlebots for that time. Yeah. I was just playing drums.
But I did the therapy thing, but then I would soak my hand in Epsom salts. And I feel like that was what made the huge difference.
Yeah, it's amazing at like even when you think that you're relaxed, you go in an Epsom salt bath, then you're like, holy shit, all of my muscles are so tense. And somehow that salt just like gets in there and just like melts you.
Wow.
That's crazy. I've never done anything like that. Like no injuries that I've soaked my hands in Epsom salt. I'll definitely try that.
I have a big old bag of it, Zach.
Oh yeah,
big old bag of Epsom salt.
Big old bag of salt.
You can get it. You can get it at Costco.
Dude,
I never thought to look at Costco.
Yeah, it's like huge. It's like massive.
I need that.
You
my
just
God,
like,
I'm gonna do that next.
Yeah,
yes,
it's so good.
Is
I
there
take
like
a lot of salt baths.
Is there like a ratio that you're supposed to go for?
Yeah, what's the ratio? I don't know. I just pour it in there.
I've been suggested like an entire pound of Epsom salt, but I've never used that because it like I like to make my stuff last, and I don't want to be spending like $50 a month on Epsom salt.
Yeah.
So I don't usually do the pound.
Yeah.
I just kind of toss them in there and whatever seems right.
Have you ever tried? So we're talking about salt bath. That's where I get this weird thought, but sensory deprivation tanks.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
There's some in Grand Rapids actually.
Yeah. I think there's one in Detroit too. I've always wanted to try one. I hear it's very crazy experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to try it too.
Especially when you're on psychedelics, apparently.
Oh, dude, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could do that.
I'm going to try it sober first.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, I hear you can have like psychedelic trips just from being in a sensory deprivation tank for long enough. You know, like I've heard those stories where this
like out of body experiences.
Yeah. Like that'd be so wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually first learned about sensory deprivation tanks from Joe Rogan when he did the I don't know if you guys saw like the Netflix special about DMT and all that. Like,
I don't know if I watched the Netflix one. I think I saw one on Amazon. It was maybe it was Netflix. DMT, the spirit molecule.
That's exactly it.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he talks about that a little bit in there. And I've been always intrigued, but I've never had the opportunity to try it. And I think that'd be fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
There's this whole study. The government is actually running this study right now, as far as I understand.
Oh, so you know it's going to be good.
Well, no, it's a study about using psychedelics for therapeutic purposes and using them as like psychological healing agents, where people who like soldiers that come back from war and are like crippled with PTSD, you know, can't leave their house, or people there was this one woman on a show that I watched who was diagnosed with like stage 4 cancer and then had completely recovered, and she was like paralyzed with anxiety of the cancer coming back. And she was like, so I went to this therapist and I participated in this thing and we took psilocybin and I have never struggled with anxiety since then. And it's this show called I think it's called like the Goop Crew.
Goop Lab.
Goop Lab, yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. Like that's such a cool concept, and I'm all for using natural things.
There's another Netflix series now called Unwell, and it's about the wellness industry and talking about, you know, the scam in the wellness industry, but also the benefit of all of these new age things happening. And they actually talk about, they have an episode on ayahuasca, which is very similar. A lot of people use it to combat addictions.
Okay.
And it's helped a lot of people like break out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
it's pretty
also one
interesting.
thing that's like really going back to like everyone has their own truth. It's like everyone there's going to be a different way that everyone can can find a way to get better, even though that
Mm-hmm.
might not, that
Yeah.
might be an antidepressant for somebody, but that might
Mm-hmm.
be, you know, a psychedelic trip with a therapist for another person, you
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
there's all these different things. I know one thing that's helped me in the past was cold therapy, where
Oh, like an ice bath?
yeah,
Ooh.
Like,
yeah.
did you watch that episode of Goop Lab?
Yes, that's why I started doing it.
The
That's why
Wim
I
Hof.
started the Wim Hof. Yeah.
Oh,
I gotta watch
so
that
good.
now.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
you
it's
do. That
so
one's
good.
fascinating.
It is. It is. And I'm somebody who, like, if anybody who knows me, like, I hate the cold. I am
Mhm.
not a
Yeah,
creature of the cold.
same.
But I tried it, and it's like, for me, I mostly do it like in the shower in the morning, where I'll like take my shower, and then at the end I'll turn the water all the way cold and just try and stand there and breathe, and you know, like let everything happen. There was one day where I was like, I woke up and I was exhausted. I like got 3 hours of sleep. I did not want to be up, but I had to work, and I got in the shower, you know, did my thing, did the all the way cold water. I stood there for like 45 seconds, and I got out, and I was so awake, and I was just like, I literally was laughing at myself. I was like, "Ooh, that's crazy!" like it's a crazy experience.
It definitely does that to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, that sounds well. I remember when I was so Zach and I were both a part of like drum corps, which is like basically professional marching band, and you tour the country and you rehearse 12 hours a day, and you just like work on your craft immensely.
Yeah, it's like very technique driven.
Very too technique driven, in my opinion. But anyways,
opinions.
We would like getting in an ice bath afterwards. We would get ice baths afterwards, and it's like, whoa, this is miserable. But then you get out and you just feel like all the pain that like on your joints, because you're like working a lot, all the pain in your joints, everything just kind of just goes away. It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. I wonder what it is, like what the science is behind that.
Yeah, I don't even,
Tony,
but probably reducing inflammation, maybe like it reduces a lot because the wear and tear on your, like, especially daily, it's like the wear and tear on your body. It's like there's a lot of built up inflammation. I think that cold just kind of, same with the Epsom salts. I think it just kind of reduces the inflammation. So there's less like tension and all on your tendons and bones and muscles. And I don't know. Yeah. I'm talking on my ass right now.
Have you guys ever heard of Tony Robbins?
No.
He's like, he's somebody who's, I mean, he's huge in the business world. He's really big on mindset and changing your life for the way that you want to live and getting yourself to the point that you want to be. And that's like really what he does. It's like life coaching seminars, but it's really, really profound the way that he talks about his mindset. And he's like, every day when I wake up, I have a routine to change my mindset. He's like, I feel like the only way that I can change is to take 10 minutes for myself to make sure that I do that, whether that be like running, or he's super, super wealthy. So he has this like I think it's like a 50-degree straight up and down. He's also like 7 feet tall. So it's like 8 feet deep, just like single person pool that like he'll jump in the morning. It's like so cold. And he's just like, here we go. Like, it's like, and he does these like different breathing techniques, and he sings, and like, there's footage of him doing all this, going through his routine in the morning. And it's like, that's your body is, I feel like it's connected to everything that you do, whether you think it is or not. Like if you are hurting, then you're not going to be in a good mindset, as well as if you're not in a good mindset, then maybe your body you can do something that will change that. You know, it's wild.
I've been taking these classes online, just free YouTube classes by a guy named Sundar Iyer, and they're yoga classes. and he talks, so he just goes through the class, and then at the end you do yoga nidra, which is, lying down in shavasana and drawing your attention to like one area of your body and allowing it to just relax completely and to withdraw like connection with it, like withdraw your mind from it. But he says that true yoga and yoga is the unity of spirit with body, with everything, right? And he says true yoga happens not while you're doing the asanas and the poses, but during yoga nidra. So the asanas, by doing those stretches and those poses, it prepares your body to be able to let go and relax in this deeper way, which then also prepares your mind to allow it to let go and to let go of all attachments and everything and to transcend, essentially.
Yeah.
That is such a hard thing for a lot of people to do, is just let go.
Yeah.
Let go of
practice,
control.
though.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that's what I feel like. I feel like there's so many people who have tried yoga and meditation for a little bit and then didn't necessarily feel anything from it. So they just stopped. And it's like, it's practice to get yourself into that state.
Definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you, this may be a dumb question, but like, how do you practice that?
Practice yoga?
Well, how do you like practice? Yeah. Yoga, but like letting go. How do you practice letting go? I mean, this is, for me personally, this is so hard. So I was just like, how do you practice that?
Yeah. I have moments too where I can't stop thinking of one negative thing that happens, and then my brain fixates on it, and then I'm not present the whole day, and I'm just like in this blob, in this storm of negativity. I think that yoga helps me by going deeper and connecting to my breath and going deeply into these poses that can be painful. It's like I'm practicing going into the pain to let go of it. So I think that helps. But also, for the past couple weeks, I've had some weird feelings. I think probably just about everyone in this country has been feeling some weird stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of negativity I noticed in my own brain, my own thoughts. And I picked up this book that my mom had given me a while ago called Hardwiring Happiness. And it's about rewiring your thoughts. So our brain, we still have this like primal instinct to react and like freak out when something happens that kind of like throws off our vibe, because we're used to this like fight or flight, back in the wild, back in the day, we needed that in order to survive. But now we have all these resources and we really don't need that part of our brain as much as our bodies think that we do. So it talks about rewiring these thoughts, because that's why we have these negative thoughts, because it's reacting and it's trying to protect you. But since we don't need that, and peace is more of what we need now, it talks about the way to do that is to start taking in the good around you and have a good experience, enrich that experience and really notice everything about it, and then let it sink into your body. And by taking in this good, you're taking in this positivity that can allow you to not experience that negativity as deeply as you could.
That kind of reminds me of like the concept of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yes.
Where it's like it goes specifically off of what you were just saying, where you have these reactions to like certain scenarios or situations. It's like having the awareness to identify that reaction, look at it, and then switch it.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, like, okay, so this just happened. My reaction right now is anger. So I'm feeling anger. This is why I'm feeling anger. How can I flip that? And then that creates a habit of like, it creates new pathways neurologically. Neurologically, it creates these new pathways.
Yeah. I think it's similar too with like Zen, you know, that practice of non-attachment. You know, you maybe notice that negative thought, but then you don't like hold on to it. You just allow it to pass through you.
Yeah.
Which is so hard.
It's so hard.
But it's so hard. But it's everything.
Exactly. It's like any other skill set that.
Oh no. Can you hold on for a second? Oh wait. I'm good. I think some earwax just like clogged my
I love when that happens.
Oh, you love it, Andy?
Yeah, I love it. Love when earwax just
so fun.
Yeah, it just goes. Or do you guys ever get that, like when all of a sudden you're like just hanging out and all of a sudden like your right or left ear will just go.
Yeah,
this might just be me.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either, but it's.
I have one of my friends. His fiance is like just about to finish her doctorate in audiology. And I was talking to her about that because I was like, am I going deaf? Like I listen to loud shit all the time. I was freaking out. And she, I forget what it was called, but you know that tinnitus?
Yeah, tinnitus.
Yeah. So she said it's like, it's the same exact thing, but like a intermittent form of it that every person has. Like that happens to everyone, whether you listen to loud things or not. It's just
that's good to know.
That's
good to know. That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I heard, and I think this was when I was young, so it was probably somebody making something up, I hope. But I heard that it's like when you get that ringing in your ear, it's that frequency is leaving you permanently and you'll never hear it again.
I've heard that too.
I have also heard that.
I've heard that too.
I have also heard that.
I've heard like when you get done, I mean, is it a myth? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, because I've heard like you like get done. I don't know why I was doing this, but like you get done
because you get done drumming.
You get done drumming or like playing, and
drumming
it's like
happens.
Or like at a concert, and then you have that ringing in your ear after. It's like that ringing in your ear is like you're erasing pitches that you can hear.
Well,
I don't know. I've heard that same thing.
That is different though than when it happens like randomly, because if your ears are ringing after a concert, and again, I don't take me at my word, but I did talk to an almost audiologist about this. Because I'm worried. He's like my best friend, and I've known them since we were babies, and so every issue that I have, it's funny. He's a nurse and she's like an audiologist, so like literally every issue that I have, I'm like, Adam, what's happening?
And they're probably super annoyed with you.
Yeah, probably. But if you hear that ringing like after like a concert or after a gig or something like that, that means that there's some amount of hearing damage. And what my friend who's studying to be an audiologist, her name's Ellen. So what Ellen said is one day, because usually it's like you get out of that gig and you're driving home and you're like, oh, whoa, okay, yep, that's there. Yeah. And then you go to bed and you wake up and it's fine, right? She told me that that's like tinnitus. She's like that. So one day, if that keeps happening, one day you will go to sleep and you'll wake up and it will never stop. And I'm like, oh, and yeah, and that's what she's always like, she's like, just bring earplugs and you'll be fine. Yeah. And there's some really good musicians earplugs out there. Like I know I use those erasers, which like cuts the frequency spectrum like evenly. Those are great. And that for me, I like going to concerts more when I have those because it's like eliminates the like.
Yeah,
and,
you
right.
can actually hear the music a little bit better.
Yeah,
Well,
get, like,
yeah, exactly. Like Hannah, like what you have right now, the in-ear monitors, it just cuts out all of the extra noise that
it cuts out everything except for what I want.
Yeah,
which is usually just my voice and a low mix.
Right.
Yeah. So what monitors are those?
This is the Shure somethings, 425s.
For sure.
I think Haruki has the same for sure. For sure. That was punny. Yeah, I think Haruki and Tez both have those same ones. Yeah, I have the advanced audio. I have like the lowest level because again broke, but they're cool. I actually went to a drum show in Chicago and they had a booth set up, and so they did like custom molds for me, which
nice.
when they mail them, I've got them right here somewhere. There they are in my box of things. But yeah, just like they came in this little case and then got my custom molds and everything. So those are sweet. Yeah.
I would love that. These fall out of my ears a lot, and I've actually broken 2 of them from accidentally stepping on it.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
It's so sad.
That's the thing. Music can be expensive. Very expensive.
There you go. Expensive. Well, cool. Hannah, thank you so much for being a part of this. We
appreciate for inviting me.
Yeah, this has been wonderful. We've learned so much. It's been very enlightening. And just appreciate your time. And for everybody, Hannah Laine, check her out on Facebook, Instagram. She has a website, hannalainemusic.com. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And her band Earth Radio just came out with a new album, Reanimate. If you check further or earlier in the podcast, we play a little snippet of that. You do not want to miss it. You want to listen to this album. It is amazing.
Not sleep on it. It's streaming on every major platform. They've got stuff up on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music. Check it out. Check it out.
All the things.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Thank you guys.